What's up, everybody? It is your boy Nick from Run the Foot Market. I am joined by FutEconomist today for a video. What's up, man?
What's going on, Nick?
So, guys, today we are going to be bringing you guys a video talking about some of the biggest mistakes that people and the average user, and maybe some of you guys make in Foot, and you guys are not even realizing it. And we're going to kind of try to help you guys and talk you guys out as to why some of these things you can fix really easily. You can save yourself some coins and even make some coins by selling some players when you think you're getting maybe a good deal or getting a bargain on an SBC, when really you can really benefit and keep your coin stash a little bit higher by not doing it. So if you want to get into it, we're going to start with doing SBCs that almost guarantee a loss. So team of the week SBCs are the first thing, and if you want to speak on that a little bit, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of SBCs that EA throw at us to sort of entice us to do, and you have to think that sort of from the perspective of EA, a lot of the SBCs that they throw out there are market controlling techniques. One in particular that I'm going to use as an example is the Team of the Week SBCs. On average, you are going to lose coins virtually every single time you do the Team of the Week SBC. It's designed to do that. It's fun, and if you go into the SBC knowing that it's for fun, it's fun to gamble. But if you're doing it with the intention of making profit, there's a very good chance that you're not going to make profit, even if the Team of the Week is absolutely stacked. You'll see on Reddit a lot of times people will post up, results of doing 200 Team of the Week SBC packs, and you'll see that virtually every single one of them is like a loss in total, and they lose big. One person I remember, he spent about 2 million coins doing it, and he got back just about 750K. So, those are the kind of ratios of loss that you're looking at, and it's really not worth it. Another example of an SBC that you're going to lose coins on virtually every time is the 2-player packs. They're untradeable too. So I know you can turn them in down the line for SBCs, but the chance of you either getting someone that you can use in your team or someone that you can turn in for SBCs is really low.
Yeah, and I think that's going on to something that we will talk about a little bit more later, but we see it on Twitter all the time where people are saying, "Hey, I did it for free," or "Hey, I was able to do this Team of the Week SBC for free because I had the players in my club," and really you're not doing it for free. If you think about it, you could so easily just go into your club and list up every single one of the players that you thought you were, putting them in for free, and end up making 40K, 50K. Say you're doing a Team of the Week SBC with those players, and just liquidate and take a free 50K. When really you're just trying to gamble and get the discard 81 inform that you're actually going to get, and you're only going to end up making 10K. So that's a very good point. And as well as 2-player packs, they're untradeable. So the Team of the Week packs are bad enough, but the 2-player packs are you're not even getting anything of tradable value from it.
Right.
So even if you do get super lucky, say you pack that inform Pogba last week, what can you even do with it? You have to use it. If you're not even a player, if you're a trader, that's the worst part. If you're doing 2-player packs and you're a trader,
right.
I don't know at that point, because you're not even playing with the players that much, and it's not worth it. So that's a really good point with those, and it's an easy way to save you guys quick coins. Just if any of those come out, I know it's addicting. Maybe do one, but please do not do 15, 20, 25 Team of the Week SBCs or 2-player packs.
Exactly.
And that moves in to the next thing, because we do have FUTMas coming up. It's going to be, we've had these MVPs, and we're going to have these MVPs coming up. And I think, we were talking about how doing player SBCs is the same thing, especially if you're not going to use it for a long period of time. So if we have the same format of FUTMas like we did last year, where we're going to get from the 16th to the 24th, we're going to get 3 player SBCs every day. If you're doing all 3 of those for 8 days, 9 days, you're going to have 24 to 27 untradeable players, and the chances are that you're only going to actually use 2 or 3 of those 2 months from now.
Exactly.
So the biggest advice there is pick 1, 2, or 3 players that you think you will totally use, and do the research. Be like, hey, have they been playing well this year? Do I think they're going to get multiple informs? How is their team playing? Only do things that you think are going to be of, real value. I think, Bellerin was expensive to do last year, but if you look at it down the line, he might have been worth it just because he never picked up any informs last year besides the Scream, I think, or maybe something later in the year, but nothing crazy, I think. So that SBC might have been worth it. We were talking a little bit before this, and for me, I think around FUTMas time, the only SBC from player SBCs, if they do that again, right? It's a big if, but I think the only ones I will be doing are outside backs. And if you want to go on to and explain about that too.
Yeah, I mean, so outside backs are a great look, as you said, because they tend to be the ones that are toughest, that are like toughest to predict when they're going to get informs, because they usually need to pop in a goal or an assist, and usually like a man of the match performance, and a lot of times they're pretty important for chemistry. And that's another point, is when you're thinking about doing a player SBC, the important thing is that they're going to have to be in your team. They're going to have to create value for you by being in your team over the long haul. So if there's someone in the team, that you're thinking about doing, but there's a potential that later down the line there's going to be not just an inform for that player, but an inform like literally anyone else, like in his sort of like position in his niche that could get an inform, or there could be a legend that you could fill it in for once you get a little bit more coins. You've just got to think like, is this player going to be someone that's in my team for the long haul? And there's a good chance that they're not going to be, which is why I would recommend staying away from the majority of those SBCs, unless, like you said, it's a left back or right back, because they can tend to sort of be like the cornerstones of a lot of teams. So
yeah, and if some crazy card like Quaresma comes out and you're like, oh my god, I gotta do it, you got to think about it like you came up with this too when we were originally speaking and talking about all this stuff, was like, where's the flexibility with chemistry? Like, he's not gonna link. You have a dead card in your club now, and the thing that people will tell themselves is, hey, he's going to be my super sub all year.
Sub. Yeah.
No, it's just not worth it. All right, just go buy him on the market, or so that's that. And then moving on to listing up cards, especially the really expensive ones without full contracts or fitness.
Yeah.
And it's not the tech avion, but just making those cards look more appealing. Don't list it up with 70 fitness and 2 contracts left. Give it at least 7 contracts and 99 fitness. Give it at least a full fitness. It's what people like to see, and I think the more contracts, the better. Maybe you're able to sell something for 5, 10K more. So make sure, guys, when you guys are listing cards onto the transfer market, make sure you're listing them at appealing, not necessarily appealing prices, but just make sure that they look appealing. Make sure that they have their contracts, they have their fitness, and maybe even a good chemistry style. And please, if you have multiple investments, and we see this all the time, even this year, I think the panic has been so high on the market that sometimes when SBCs drop, it's actually cheaper to buy it like 5 minutes after that SBC drops, because you are seeing investors this year, they have 40 Adebayors for a Team of the Week SBC, and they go up into their transfer list and they go, oh my god, this is needed. I'm going to list all my Adebayors at 15K, all 2 seconds apart from each other. And it's not the way to go. If you guys are mass investing, if you have 184s for an SBC coming up, say you think it's going to be used around FUTMas, just let the SBC settle, let the market catch up, see where it's at. If you think it's going to continue to rise into the night, then wait on it and slowly filter them out. Maybe list one up for the, not even the cheapest bin, but one of the cheaper bins. Maybe list one up every 5-10 minutes and just start filtering them out. The way to go is totally not mass listing, and it's something I think that for me, when I see that on the market, I just shake my head. I'm like, what is this guy doing? It's ridiculous.
And that's the thing that some of the more popular investments sort of usually fall victim to, is that you'll have some newer investors coming into the trade. They don't understand that usually you're going to have to wait at least 2 or 3 weeks before things start to go up. So they're just listing at their target price. You're going to want to be listing at least above your target price as well, when you're not actually looking to sell them on. And even when you're doing that, don't list them all up at the same price. That looks so bad. As like a buyer that's coming onto the market, if I see like 15, whatever the card is, at the exact same price with the same starting bid, same buy now, immediately that says this is someone's investment, and I don't want to be buying someone else's investment. And then just jumping quickly back to the point about listing up players. With contracts, one thing that I see a lot of people do is that they'll pack a manager and they'll quick sell the manager, even if it's not already in their club. You have to remember that for like the rare managers, they give a contract boost. And if you can then apply a contract and then you get, because like if you can get, I think it's a total of a 50% boost in contracts, if you have enough managers in your club, and that can give that can make your card just look that much more appealing, especially to if you're listing some of the higher end cards, where some of these guys, like, money is no object, so literally they're going to pay sort of a silly amount more for something that has more contracts and maybe has a chemistry style on it. So that's just something to keep in mind. As far as that goes. Yep. And then kind of sort of like in the same sense of mass listing, sort of the flip side of things is mass bidding. One thing you want to avoid, and it's a popular method, and it's a good way to pick up stuff for league SBCs, buying them low and then listing up for lazy buyers and stuff like that. And really, I mean, it's a pretty universal trading method. But one thing I see people do, especially on cards that have a relatively low card weight, is that they'll go and they'll mass bid on every single card that is coming across the transfer block. And what that effectively does is you're price fixing yourself, and you're raising the price, the effective price for that sort of time period of that card, because anyone else that comes onto the market, unless they're going through a buy now, they're going to be seeing, okay, every single one of these is bidded up to 700 coins, so I'll just take it at 750, and sort of effectively bumps up the price. So what I tend to do is I'll leave, like, I'll bid on 3, leave a gap, and don't bid on 1, and that's for like the player that's trying to actually buy it, instead of having it so that you basically just leave yourself room for the casual players to come in and buy those cards.
Yep, totally agree. And then, we could also move on and talk about the whole lazy buyers thing. I have done videos. You talk about this all the time on your Twitter. I talk about this all the time on my Twitter. Lazy buyers are very important, guys. Make sure, even if you have investments that you don't plan to sell for like 3 weeks because you want it to hit a certain price, I'm guaranteeing you right now, if you list 40 investments you have currently in your trade pile for 10% of more what they actually go for, and you just keep listing throughout the week, throughout that week you will get one lazy buyer, and it's crazy because you see it all the time, especially with pros. I think when we watch them stream and stuff like that, like when they are making a new team or something, a lot of these guys, like, they don't, and you get it, like, a lot of people don't have time to go look at the cheapest buy now. They just want to buy whatever they see that looks appealing on the first page when you look, right? So it's something that happens all the time, guys, with people who play this game, is that they just either, some people don't know how to go look for the cheapest bin, so when they're searching somebody in the concept squad, they say, hey, this looks pretty good, I'm going to take this one. And you can really make some extra money just by consistently by listing for lazy buyers. I mean, I do it all the time. I do it especially with, I think it's very important to do with when you have informs, and say you mass invest in an inform. So, like, for me, I'm pretty invested right now in some Callum Wilsons that I picked up like 24,000 coins, and my target for him is somewhere in the high 40s. So that's kind of where I'm listing him, and I have like 30. I've had them spread out. I don't have them all up at the same time, and I have them at different ranges. So I have some at like 39,750, some at 39,250, some at 36,750, and then I have some in the 40s. And I actually, like, last night, somebody bought one of mine for 44,750, and the guy sells for 32,000 right now on the market. That's his current cheapest bin. Right. So it is amazing how you can really get some easy buyers on lazy buyers.
Yeah, and I mean, just building off that a little bit, it's especially, you mentioned this briefly, but it's especially useful to do that tactic on cards that can't be searched for specifically,
yes,
or aren't easily searched for specifically. And there's a couple of ones that you can do. I mean, virtually any special card, especially if it's a special card that has multiple versions of a special card. So if it's like, a lower rated inform and then a higher rated inform, it's tough to narrow that down. It's frustrating to narrow that down, and people tend to get lazy when they're buying them. And then later in the year, we'll also see that with when we get the winter refreshes, or whatever, I think that's what they're called. Basically upgrades. Just when they have, the upgrades, when they have different the versions of their card, is when you can see the lazy buyers come out of the woodwork.
Yep, totally. And then we could talk about this, guys. Like, if you're not doing discard inform investing, you're doing it wrong, because it's one of the easiest ways to make coins. And you see it especially, like, if you bought any cards from the first, I'd say, 5 or 6 team of the weeks that were maybe discard, I'm pretty sure every single one of them is like over 12K at this point in time. Like, I had an inform Locadia who I bought for 9,900, and I literally sold him last night for 26,000 coins. And the thing is that discard informs, they get submitted to SBCs, and the longer you hold on to them and keep them in your club, I think the better chance you have for them to be needed for an SBC, and just the better chance you have for them to have less supply, and in turn, actually, they just do go up in value naturally. And it's a good way where if you do have a lot of coins, and even if you don't, say you have 100,000 coins and that's all you have, but you think that there's a guy in the team of the week that's 81 or 82 rated, he's getting close to discard, and he has a very good nation, try to get him for his minimum price, like whatever you can get him at the lowest or close to the lowest, maybe 250, 500 coins over. Just put him in your club, forget about him for a little bit, and check back in 2 or 3 weeks. He will probably be at least 1 or 2K over his value that you got him for. And it's the safest way to be investing, especially if you're a guy who watches this video and you are trying to beat the whole system and really invest for FUTMas SBCs, and you want to just get everything right and you want to make a ton of coins. I'd say the best way to do that is get involved with the 81 and the 82 rated informs. Those are, we just saw it in the Team of the Week SBCs that came out like last week. that I think all the 82 informs went to at least 15K. So if you were able to, a few weeks back, pick up some 82s that went for 10K, you're looking at a 4K profit after tax margin on the card. So that's a really easy way to make money this year.
Right. And it's especially effective for the trader, the investor that doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of time to commit to trading, or they would rather spend their time on gameplay. If you make your team and you have your team that you're using for weekend league, and then you have 100K left over, that's the kind of investment that you want to be looking at, just because you can hold that for a long time and it's going to slowly make money for you. Whereas a lot of these investments are either very short term or will plateau after a while. So those are the kind of investments that are generally very safe. And it's the same thing with timing the sort of off cycles of sort of in between SBCs when like certain requirements like cheap 83s and 84s. That's the kind of investment that when you can buy it, you should, because you can just hold it in your club, wait for the next time that there's a Team of the Week SBC or Team of the Group Stage SBC or whatever it is, FUTMas, and then just list it on. Those are very safe investments. You can't really go wrong with them. And sort of speaking of those cycles, one thing that I see people doing a lot, and this is sort of the next mistake, is that when there are big events like FutMas and Black Friday and Team of the Year and Team of the Season coming up, you tend to see people asking, should I sell my team? Should I sell everything in my club? And sort of the philosophy that I've adopted recently is that I wouldn't advise selling like your entire team, your entire club. And there's a couple of reasons. The first is that's taking away from time that you have to enjoy the game. When you, especially if you're a good player, if you're a really good player and you consistently finish at least Elite 3, don't mess with your team. You earn more coins. You're going to earn more coins by finishing Elite 3 in a weekend than you're going to save if you sell your entire team and save yourself a 5% margin even after the EA tax. And that's another thing you have to remember. You're forfeiting, if say you have a million coin team, you're forfeiting 50K of that million coin value team to EA tax every single time. And so essentially you have to be at least saving yourself a 6% margin, and you have to be sort of pretty certain that there's going to be at least a 6% drop in the prices of those players for it to be worth it for you to do something like that. So that's just a thing I'd keep in mind. Staying and sticking with a core group of players and a core sort of team throughout the entirety of FIFA is something that not only can make you more comfortable and better with the actual team that you're playing with, but save you a lot of coins just on EA tax and headache in general.
Yeah, and I think going off that, just changing your team frequently is not the way to go, because you're going to lose coins to tax unless you're getting your teams for very good prices. You're probably going to start to lose some coins on tax. I would just try to stick with one team. Like you said, don't panic the team during a market crash. Just hold on. You're going to make more coins playing the game if you are a player. And, just some closing thoughts about other things that people might be making mistakes. Guys, do the bronze pack method. What it is I'll show you on screen right now. Just go to the store. It's very simple. Like maybe a few times a week, you just open up some 400 coin packs. I don't even check the value of kind of players in the pack. I open the pack. I store it in my club. You get 3 players. And then sometimes when they put out those bronze player packs, I think mathematically it's really worth it to do those because you get 12 players, I think, for 1,800 coins. And while they might not all, these guys might not be selling right now, just like you saw today, like Middlesbrough center backs and stuff right now are 8K for a marquee matchup. And the chances are that at some point, at least in the next month, even in the short term, that you will have bronze players that are worth something for whether it's League SBCs or marquee matchups. It's something that I do it like once or twice per week, and I just opened up a bronze pack actually, and we got a center back who plays in the the Saudi league for the League SBC, and just looking at one player already, it looks like he sells for over a K, and I paid 1,800 for the pack, and then I have still 11 players that we still have that might be possibly selling down the road. So listen, it's really worth it to do that, and you want to get into the last thing really quick about the monthly rewards in the end of the year.
Sure. Yeah. So that's one thing, especially if you're a good player. You're gonna have a lot of those monthly rewards in your club, a lot of those red cards. And one thing I see people doing is they'll submit it sort of early in the year for these like sort of random SBCs, whether it's for like a Team of the Week SBC or I've even seen people submit it for League SBCs. And while I guess you can do that, I think there's far better options for doing that.
I agree.
One, I would at a minimum, submit it for the icon SBCs. If you need someone that's really high rated, that's something you can do. But also remember, last year they had the Prime SBCs that they released at the end of the year, and they just required like a special card, and you could use like a special card could be considered your monthly rewards. That could fill that requirement. And if EA do that again this year, that's a great way to get use out of those, the 88 variety that you pack for like the 100th time in your monthly reward while you're trying to get like 9 golden or Pogba or whatever it is. So that's something to keep in mind for your pro players out there.
Totally agree. If you guys get monthly rewards, just save them till the end of the year. Don't submit them in SBCs. There's going to be all these premium SBCs, and you're going to have multiple times to use them at the end of the year. It's totally going to be worth it, especially if we do get more end of an era cards. That's something as well to keep an eye on. Like those always have not crazy high requirements, but it will be helpful to have those cards, I think, towards the end of the year, and it could save you some money. I think we covered everything in terms of like, I think obvious things that you guys can do to either polish up your club or fix something that you're maybe not necessarily like. None of these things, guys, none of these things are wrong that you're doing. It's not wrong, but we're just trying to help save you guys coins, especially if you guys want to be more efficient with everything and get the bigger players faster. If you're getting caught up in doing all these SBCs, or you're not taking advantage of things like listing for lazy buyers or doing bronze spec method, because like if you give or take you do bronze spec method for I'm huge on it, like 6 weeks in a row, you're gonna kill it one time for marquee matchups where you're gonna walk out of there with like 30K just on that day because you had them in your club. And there's so many different things that you can do as a player on this game every day that can really help you be more efficient with your club. So I think that's all we really have to say. I appreciate you coming on today, man. I thank you for coming.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
And guys, I'm going to put his links to, you guys can go follow him on Twitter, and he started streaming, so I'm going to put his link down on Twitch, and I will put his YouTube and everything. Make sure you guys go show him some love. Knows a lot about the market and is a good friend of mine, so I appreciate him coming on today. If you guys do enjoy the video, smash the like and comment down below. Maybe let's do this. Comment down below one of these things that we talked about today that you do, and maybe you're gonna go be like, all right, I don't need to do that anymore. If there's anything that you are guilty of from this video today, let us know down below. And again, guys, appreciate everybody watching. Peace out.